Hello, and welcome to this podcast. My name is Sabi Coffee, and I have two guests with me here. So, if you would introduce yourselves.
I'm Snazzy, aka Henrik. I'm one of the QA testers and QA lead for Postscriptum and Periscope games. Um, yeah, fun times.
Hello, I'm Foxtails, also Martin. I'm a level designer at Periscope Games, and I also work on Postscriptum.
Okay, then. Well, that's cool. So, the topics for today is the new GoG launcher called Galaxy version 2.0, and we're going to be talking about the Epic Game Store as well, and how it will affect the launch of the new GoG launcher. So why don't we just start by talking about the new launcher? Do you two have any opinions on it yet? Have you looked into it?
I have personally signed up for the launcher and for the beta launcher because I want to see what it is. But my biggest problem when it comes to launchers in general is the abundance of it. Like there's just so many launchers now that it's like you want to go here and you want to go there. I get the idea behind the GOG launcher, but it kind of contradicts what GOG is all about, which is DRM free games that you can get wherever you are, offline, online, whatever. Where the GOG launcher seems more like this online solutions to get your games, like a Steam solution, aka right. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I I think it's actually a good idea. I mean, you know that people will most likely get their games on either most likely Steam or maybe once the heat cools, once the heat cools off, Epic. And I mean, if you can have everyone just like come to your platform at some point, they'll just end up buying games on your platform. So it kind of makes sense. They're doing what other people are doing with. I mean, I can't remember if Discord does that, but I know like GeForce Experience does it, where it lists every single one of your game and you can launch it from the control panel. But I mean, no one uses that. So I mean, they're not doing something new, but they're probably doing it better than anyone else. So I mean, it's free anyway, so why not check it out?
That's true. That's true.
I've personally signed up for the beta. I think it's a really good idea, but I also think that it plays a lot on, I guess, the hysteria going on right now with all of these different launches appearing, and especially with everything going on about the Epic Game Store. So I think that was the obvious next step. Why not try to put everything together? But will it actually work? I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, they're the first to really do it, though. So I mean, if you get every single feature that Snazzy has been complaining about the App Store, for example, cloud saves, functional storefronts, friends, and if friends are cross-platform, that's even better, actually. The next thing I'd love is actually for me to be able to boot my PS4 from the PC. That would be just awesome.
Yeah. Like, it will apparently be able to already track your achievements and trophies and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So, who knows? Maybe that will actually also be the case.
I'm curious though. So now there's this they announce a lot, or they build a lot upon this cross platform thing, where no matter how many platforms you have, this will work for you. So what if you buy a game from Steam? So I'm assuming that this also means that you'll probably. I mean, I get the appeal, but I don't get why we need to have this. Because
If
we
you
already have.
only
If you
if you
only
only
buy
get your
from.
game from Steam, then you don't really care. But if you have friends, for
Yeah.
example, on other platforms, for example, Romain and I were wanting to play Subnautica together with a co-op mod from Nexus, and I got the game for free on Epic, which is awesome. And he has it on Steam, and we're like at some point I was wondering, wait, will the mods actually work for both games, or are they like using different APIs and shit? So
Yeah.
I'm curious if Steve, now they're just cross-platform chat, will there also be cross-platform launching? So will I be able to launch my Uplay and my Origin games, my Steam games, and my Epic games, and my Name Your X Launcher Here game from within this one launcher, or will I still have to, will that still be a separate experience? Because that's my biggest problem with a launcher, is the fact that they are separate experiences. They are separate launchers that you still need to boot up, and you still need to use them in order to launch whatever game you want to play. And in case there's this cross-platform, what if you own two of the same games? Say you own a state game on Steam and you also own the same game on GOG. How will
You
that
won't.
work?
You won't
Like,
need to. You don't need to do so. I mean, if the platforms comes to bear, you won't need to own two copies of the same game.
no, but if you do,
But yeah,
if there's this cross-platform, what if you own two versions of the same? I'm just fury thinking here.
that's a
Like,
valid point, I guess. Well, I
Yeah.
know
Does
on
it-
Steam, like both games appear when you have two versions of the game. That's how it happens on Steam.
I want to see what they want to do, which is why I signed up for the beta. I want to see what they can do with this, because I'm fairly certain that GOG will want to do something really good. Especially because GOG is owned by
Red.
Yeah, CD
yeah
Project Red.
yeah
Yeah.
CD Projekt Red. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do, because they are very very pro consumer. They're very much with the consumer, which is why I'm very interested. I'm also skeptical because there's just so many launchers promising so many things at this point that it's absolutely ridiculous. Like
Wait. What has Steam promised?
Not Steam specifically. I
Just
didn't say
kidding.
Steam.
Just kidding.
But yeah, Steam is definitely like Steam is the big dog, but it's also the most outdated launcher, and it's also the in my opinion, it's not the most user friendly. It's not the best platform either.
There are
Steam
there are a shit ton of features in Steam that no one even hears about.
Mhm.
I remember studying it like a few years ago, and we went in depth with Steam, and there are things you don't even know. For example, levels. There's a shit ton of gamification and everywhere. I mean, like stuff like that. 99.9% of the user base will never use. It's still there though. But as you say, it's super well hidden.
So I like what they're doing here, but it's just the whole idea of the GOG launcher goes against what GOG is all about in the first place. Which is they market all their games as being DM free. There's no need to have all this extra in order to play games. Like, you go download your game and that's it. This seems like while a step in potentially the right direction, it also seems like they are going a little bit against what GOG is as a platform. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I can see that. I can see where.
Well, I definitely agree with that in the way that, as I said before, I feel that at this point of time, we just like to go against Epic Game Store more specifically, and a lot of people are talking about different launches now. So with this new launcher, it feels like they really are just playing on that. I personally don't think it will work because of licenses. They will probably have to get permission from things like the Epic Game Store, Steam, PlayStation, Microsoft, in order to even get these cross-platform features.
Well, I remember reading about that exact feature. Like the workaround that is that everything's open source. So I think it's categorized as like some kind of modding, and that's how they plan to get around all of those like licenses and everything.
Okay. Yeah, then it might actually work, yeah.
Because I heard at that point come up in a discussion while I was watching. I don't remember which podcast, I mean, you know, the gaming news cycle on the internet on YouTube, and like that question was brought up, and that's how basically they guess it would go on, because everything's open source. Is that's actually really like that's pretty much CDPR in a nutshell. No DRM, no spyware hidden anywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
they also seem to be playing, like you said, they are definitely playing on the Epic Games Store, because especially because if you go to the website and look at what they're talking about, that they're bringing up, that they're not spying on you, which is like the biggest middle finger to Epic ever.
Remember they did that with loot boxes as well. No loot boxes in CDPR in CP77.
So there's a lot of points here, especially with the privacy, where they're like, we won't do this and this and that, and then I'm over here thinking, you better be careful what you're saying you do and don't do, because people will snoop around and people will look at every nook and cranny of your platform, and they will most definitely call you out if there's something there. And then there's definitely some GDPR here, where your data belongs to you, and with a single click you can remove your data. I have a hard time believing that.
Well, people
Yeah.
leave that everywhere today, so I think it's a bit obnoxious to like. I mean, once you put something on the internet, it's not yours anymore. Let's be real.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, they can say one thing, but they can write something else in the terms of service, and you would never know about it unless you actually read the 1,000 pages.
Who does that anyway?
So I also think that people are a lot more on the toes now with these new launches, because of all the drama that the Epic Game Store has caused with their supposed spying on people. So they really have to watch out, as Doggy said.
Oh, it's like people don't pay attention, but Discord has been doing the same thing. Curse Voice has been doing the same thing. This is not the first software to like go and have a look in your Steam files.
I mean, Sab knows exactly my stance on Discord, and my stance on Discord hasn't changed just because I use Discord. I still don't trust Discord. I don't. And Sab knows exactly why, because I told him 2 or 3 years ago why I don't trust Discord. Because Discord is owned by a guy who sold his old chat company to a Chinese company for millions and millions.
Isn't that wouldn't you do that if you had the occasion to do so?
I would.
I actually don't think that's the guy who owns it anymore.
Probably not. But still, the thought that someone like him owns a platform like this terrifying, because reading what he has been done or has been doing and what he is doing.
What do we, like the consumer, have to fear from the Chinese market? I mean, they play different games. I doubt the Chinese are very interested in the data we have on our computers.
Oh no! I'm not worried about the Chinese companies owning it. I was worried about the fact that some developer would start, this guy who was called Jason Citron, who started Discord, would start Discord, and then he would wait for it to get super popular, especially because at the start of the launch, the game or the client wasn't doing a whole lot well, because it was this whole everything is free, and it's like how can you have a free platform like Discord with all this game servers and all these people? How monetarily do you make that go around without any ads or anything, right? So I was worried for the fact that this was the same thing. Like he was just doing this to get the platform super popular and then sell it off to some company to make millions. Because the last time he did that, he sold a chatting platform, and he sold it off for like $40 million to like a Chinese company, which closed down the app like a year later because there was nothing financially keeping it together. Like there was no financial plan. Like the only thing he'd done, it was that he had invested a lot of money into this to start it up, and then just had enough money to just keep it going until he could sell it off to someone to make millions. That is literally just
the rare case of a Westerner scamming a Chinese.
and he literally did that multiple times with multiple different apps, including games and stuff. And people were a lot more worried because back then he was selling. He wasn't selling the app itself. He was selling all the personal data to a company that people didn't trust. This company was later closed down because it was investigated for having used the data for fraudulent activity. So you can see why some people are put on edge when someone like him
Yeah,
makes an
true.
app like this, which was
But
why
then, like,
I was very
same people
skeptical.
kind of put all their data on Facebook all the time.
Yeah, I was just very skeptical at that time, and it's kind of that's the same thing here. Like I'm very skeptical where I put my data, and with them saying that they don't share their data, like GOG doesn't share your data with anyone, we all know that's complete bullshit. That's
Mm.
there's no company out there that don't share your data with anyone. That's not
Yeah.
that's not a thing. That's not a thing. And I guarantee if you look at their privacy policy, I guarantee you there's a part where it's like, oh, we share with our trusted partners or whatever. That's always the case. So, again, they should be very careful how they word their advertisement here, just because people will look into it, and there are people out there who are, especially with GDPR, there's people out there you don't want to fuck with because there's people out there who will potentially sue your ass, like all the way, for doing things you shouldn't be doing. So that's one of the things that I want to see these companies look out for, is to use the personal data, because that is very important. That's more important than anything else.
Well, on the one hand, the thing is, like, people want, like, interconnected platforms, friendless, like, cloud saves, everything. But on the other hand, they don't want their data on the internet. Like,
I just want all my platforms to. If I want a launcher, I want a launcher that is a launcher for all the launchers, because that's what
Yeah.
it feels like I need at this
today,
point. Is that
in the time of
I need a game launcher for my game launchers.
wait, who did that joke?
There was someone who did that joke.
There was a 1st of April with a
Um,
launcher that,
was
like,
it Corsair?
yeah, it was Corsair,
Corsair,
the launcher
game, yeah, the
launchers.
launcher for the game launchers.
But
That's great.
but today, in the
And
time of
that's not even a joke.
SSDs, though, in the time of SSDs, I mean, a launcher takes about
That's not the
3
problem. It's
seconds
not.
to boot.
Yeah, it's not a problem with starting a launcher. That's not a problem. I can start my launcher. It's just the problem of having so many launchers interconnected that I
It's
just want
true.
one.
I had
I want
forgotten Uplay was a
like
thing
like
until you brought
there's
it up.
nothing more annoying. There's nothing more annoying than when I have Epic Game Store open and I have Uplay and I have Origin open because I've been playing games on them and I just don't want to close down the launcher because why would I close down the launcher when I need it anyway? And I sit in a game and I just hear these random pings from all these random launchers everywhere. Like I just want
Disable them, for fuck's sake.
I just want all my stuff to come in one place. Like I want everything to go in the same place where I can look at it as a whole, so I don't have to go look at individual launchers for my individual things.
Use a single screen. Don't use two.
Also
4K.
just things like your friends list and things like the other data from the different games. You kind of want to keep that all together in one place, especially friends.
Definitely. Here's a solution: just buy 4 monitors, or buy a monitor for each game launcher.
Well, I guess that is one solution. Yeah.
I don't like on Epic. Maybe it's not because I'm not playing any multiplayer games at the moment. But don't have any friends on Epic, but I mean, a few dead friends. Uplay, who uses that? Origin is like an entire different thing, and like Steam is, of course. I mean, it's the place we've been for the most time. So
Yeah. So if we move on to now, we're talking about Epic Games Launcher. So the big hot thing about Epic Games Launcher is the way that they're spying on you and the way that Tencent is owning, 10% of the company and yada yada. And then there's all the people out there, all the other people out there, super uneducated, and they're like, well, most of this is just propaganda, like
how much of these people play League of Legends? League of Legends is owned by Tencent.
How many people actually believe this shit? Like, the people who say fuck Epic Games Launcher, fuck it, the Chinese government, and I mean, do you have any evidence of the Chinese government
It's
using
like
your
it's like a
Epic?
bit of racism here and there.
It's like, why are you even accusing them of this? Like what have they actually done? Like,
Oh, I mean, why would they care about your data?
They
yeah,
can't
In the
use it
first
for
place?
anything malicious anyway, so.
oh, they can if
I
they
mean,
wanted to. But then again, they would, if they wanted your data, they'll just buy it off. I don't know, Google. I don't know.
yeah, there are better places to find it anyway.
I mean, they can literally go to any one of the big data companies and just go buy your data from there. Why the fuck would they bother looking at what folder structure you have on your PC?
I mean,
Why would they
even
why-
then, when you the Western market is like tiny compared to the Asian market. I mean, we feel big and important, but like we're nothing.
the level of shit that I've seen people throw at Epic Games Launcher is like Cold War era kind of
Oh,
propaganda.
it
Like that's
pisses
where
me
we're
off
at.
all the time.
Like
It's like, oh, a game comes on Epic. Guess I won't buy it. Guess I'll just
yeah.
pirate it.
I mean, seriously, what the hell? Like, what in the actual fuck? Like,
It's like,
how are we reverting to cold era fucking propaganda here?
No, because they snatched a game people were hyped for.
Yeah,
That's
they
all.
were, and I can see that. I can understand why you would be pissed. Of course, I was pissed about Metro leaving Steam at the last minute. I wasn't pissed about the fact that it was on Steam though, or on Epic. I don't care. I think Epic is a wonderful company. I think what they do is wonderful. I think they are.
Do you think Epic is listening?
They're
yeah,
listening to this.
I'm not paid by Epic, definitely not. Don't worry.
I'm not paying Epic, but I'm saying that there's a lot of good things that Epic does do. Like we can't deny it. One good thing that I've seen over the recent over the last few years is the new. Have you heard about an Epic Mega Grant? Do you know what that
Oh
is?
yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't, no.
So Epic Mega Grant is basically Epic saying, "Do you have a game that you want to develop? Here, we'll give you money to develop your game." That's basically what it is. And they're like, "Do I have to release on Epic? No, you don't. If you have a project where
It needs to be on Unreal though. So they make 5% in then anyway.
yeah, but still, I mean, if you get funding from this company, for your game is cool. Here's
I mean,
here's
it's probably way
250
easier.
here's
It's
two
probably
hundred
way
fifty
easier
thousand
than to get
dollars
money from the government though.
or a
Yeah.
Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I also feel
Just
that
all
a
of
lot of people don't really know where to even begin when it comes to getting funds. It's like, yeah, you can do a Kickstarter, but
But
there's a lot
that's
of things you have to do there,
there's a
and
lot of competition.
yeah,
You need a established fan base in order for that to even be a thing. But Epic Games, yeah. I mean, I have no problem with Epic at all. Like, I'm not one of those people who fucking despise Epic.
Well, people
I
despise
can't.
Fortnite.
Yeah.
I despise Fortnite though.
Um,
But I have nothing against Epic. The only grudge I have against Epic is sometimes they tend to do some of their things they do like a bit too close to release, like example Metro. But that's not on Epic. Like in the end, that's not Epic's fault. That is inherently the developer's fault.
Yeah.
they chose to accept the offer, so
Definitely.
Epic is like the devil.
But I'll also say that
Epic's
Epic's tactic of violently buying out developers is necessary. It
It's
is.
like I just see Epic as an SR publisher, to be honest.
yeah.
I mean, when you have a publisher, it's like, I mean, they give you money, you do the game, but then it's up to them. I mean, they make
Yeah.
the shots.
And Epic as a whole, I mean, I have nothing against what they do, and the way that they do it, to some people seems extreme. But then you gotta realize that what they're up against is other companies like Steam, and they're up against Uplay, and they're up against Origin, they're up against all these other
Oh,
established companies.
come on, like
So they
Uplay is
they have to-
irrelevant. Origin is irrelevant as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
Only Steam matters. Come on.
In the end, yes, honesty matters, but still, they still have this competition that they need to beat, and they are late into the launcher game, so they do have massive competition to deal with. and so the tactics that they use aren't like completely. They're not normal to people in the sense that this is not something we usually see, but it's very much necessary, because if this doesn't happen, then there is nothing to pressure Steam into stepping up their game, because the Steam has been sitting on that monopoly for a bit too long. They've
A
had a
bit too
monopoly
long.
for, yeah, a bit too long. They've sat on that monopoly.
You either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain.
Yeah.
Basically, that is what the case is here.
Except Epic went to villain really fast.
No, Epic is being villainized.
Yeah.
People are villainizing Steam, or not Steam, Epic. That's just a lot of shit happening in a short span of time, and it's really unfortunate for Epic that they put themselves in the light that they put, because I do believe that the Epic Games
Have you
launcher
seen their lineup of games though? It's amazing. And like lately, there was that one game free a week, and they've stepped that to like it was a game free every 2 weeks, and now it's like one every week. And there are some really, really good games in those. I mean, I've grabbed quite a few games I've been wanting to try out for a while now.
Yeah, and there's definitely some good things that Epic wants to do. Like, for example, I don't know if you remember when Epic made that statement that, if Steam opts to do the what is the 85 or 80 cut,
Mhm.
then
Yeah, I
then
remember that.
then they would stop buying out games from Steam. Because and I think that's fair. That is a fair point
And
to
we
give.
haven't heard anything from Steam ever since then.
No. Well, to be fair, when does Steam ever comment on anything? Like, really?
They removed Artifact because it sucked.
I
I
mean,
can't even remember if they made a comment on that.
I mean, for fuck's sake, Steam support still doesn't even have a fucking phone number or a live chat.
Yeah.
True.
And their entire support system, I am thoroughly believing that all of that the entire Steam support system is run by GLaDOS, because everything's just so robotic. I am convinced that everything is run by GLaDOS, just because everything's just so robotic. Like, I don't think I've ever talked with a real person at Valve.
I remember looking for a feature, like a support feature, like contact Steam support, and it was like absolutely nowhere to be found.
There's never been any. And I'm
Yes,
baffled
you had to
how
go
a
like
company get away.
you had to go like on the web page, like deep inside the website, like 4th layer Inception level of deep.
The only the only secret kind of place to actually get hold of Steam, like Steam support, is through the secret Steamworks, the private discussion board for Steamworks. That is, as far as I know, the only place to actually get a hold of an actual Steam support member, like live, or sort of live. But that's only what I know. Not a lot of people really have access to that, because developer.
So
Also, like, there's a shit ton of crap on the Steam Workshop, on the Steam store. Like, I don't even go there anymore. And meanwhile, when you go and look on the Epic store, it's like brand new, and there's like a certain standing quality to every game, though.
Steam used to be the signal of quality control. Now the question is, what is quality control?
Quality? What?
They only tend to really care if it's something that is causing a lot of controversy.
Even though, there was that, I can't remember if it was a rape game or something like that.
Yeah.
I
Can't remember what it's called. But
yeah, but there was that.
Rape Day, wasn't that the name?
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember, but it's like it was pretty controversial that, and that game like made it past the initial made it past the initial gates to release. It actually baffles me to no end.
Steam.
Yeah, it's probably GLaDOS as indeed.
Probably. She's fucking with us. Whereas just a test.
It's just Gabe and like just his brain that has
Gaben
been
is probably
put
dead
in
at this point, but we don't even know it.
He's just been put in like a tub, and a chug
You
or what you
never, you
call
never,
it,
you never hear from
or,
the man.
or something, and he just kind of like is controlled by a robot, and that's it.
Gabe doesn't exist. He's not real.
He's a myth. Never seen him.
He's a myth.
The Bigfoot of gaming.
Basically, yeah, because we never see him like ever. Last time we saw him was at E3. And we haven't heard from him since.
So, just to kind of close off, do you think the Epic Game Store will refuse to cooperate with GOG, or you think they'll be more than happy to join up?
I think they will
I think they
because
definitely.
I mean the cuts they give to devs, because GOG at the moment it's 30-70%, 30% for GOG, same cut as Steam. So I think if devs had the option to release their game on Steam and have it on GOG afterwards, I mean, they'd still go for GOG, for Steam, no, not for Epic. For God's sake. They'd still go for Epic. I mean, and the fact that Epic has, a lower price cut allows them to market the game at a lower price. And ultimately, I mean, everyone wants games for a lower price.
The biggest question is, when will Postscriptum become an Epic exclusive?
When they give us the money.
I'll approach you. Approach Breeze with a big
And
suitcase.
when OE fixes their crap.
God. Oh, WI and their shit. But yeah, I firmly believe as well, like Fox said or Martin said, that I firmly believe that the Epic and GOG will definitely cooperate. I can't see why they wouldn't. I mean, it would be a detriment to Epic to not do that, because GOG and Epic, if they were to somehow work together, they would probably be the biggest
the
force
best.
to and the biggest threat to
I mean,
Steam.
the better for the consumers and the better for the devs.
And
Yeah.
in the end, Epic is all about being good for the consumer. They're all about they only want the good things for the consumer. While they're not necessarily always showing that in the
Or
best
their
way,
latest sell completely convinced me.
GOG is like the god of pro consumerism. Like it is. It really is. I mean,
Yeah, it
the
is.
whole
But
non
when was
VR
the last time you bought a game on GOG?
actually not too long ago. That's not very long ago. I usually don't buy my games so often on GOG, but that's just based on the fact that a lot of the games that I want to play just aren't on GOG. And I think if you can see a bigger library of the Steam games or
The
the
other
Epic games make
question
it way
though
to
is about servers, because the Steam servers are something that it's extremely convenient though. Like, how would that work?
Good point. Yeah.
I mean, Epic is a massive fucking company.
Post-scripted. Oh yeah, true. Oh yeah. But I mean, if you have people with the same game on different platforms, how would that work?
Mean, that would still work. I mean, I've seen people with private servers and they can still cut and match. Because the thing is,
True, but for
gotta
example, if
realize
you
is,
have Post-scriptum,
Steam is only
Post-scriptum uses the Steam API to connect to the servers. Like, our servers are hosted by Steam, basically. If you had the game on Epic and the game on Steam, like, how would the
no Steam only serves as a guide to your server. Like
indeed.
It's only a visual display. So if Postscriptum were to go to Epic, it wouldn't have to change anything other than you'd have to add, that if you were on the Epic launcher, you'd have to use Epic's own servers, because Epic would have to display on their. Because the thing is, your game doesn't run via Steam's servers per se.
Yeah, true.
You only utilize Steam's API to display said server in a list of a master servers. So that's really the only thing you're doing. So the only thing you'd have to do with Postscriptum is add that Epic should show up, or Postscriptum should show up on the Epic master launcher if it had one. That is,
if it had
one. So it would really change a whole lot, and I'm sure that the Epic launcher could probably use the Steam master server as well, because the Steam master server is open. Like you can ping that API without having to. Like I can connect to my own Postscriptum server and ping at the the Steam API if I know how to ping at the API. I can make my own browser externally if I wanted to. That's not a problem. It's just a matter of using the Steam API, which is public. So that's how I feel about that anyway. You can still use Steam's Steam servers as a master server, and then just replicate that over towards a Steam launcher or an Epic launcher. That's not a problem.
True.
Otherwise, online Steam browsers wouldn't work. You wouldn't be able to see the Steam browser on those websites that can show specific servers. Biometrics wouldn't work if that wasn't open, because Biometrics pulls from the Steam API.
Well, I think that is pretty much what we have to talk about here, and
that was a fun time.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Really had a good discussion, and that's good.
Very much so.
Thanks for having us.